because I can tell that you really love animals.
Yeah.
You know? And I really love animals too. And the thing is, when I saw this, it was really difficult for me because I didn't know this for the majority of my life. I was like, this is crazy. I can't believe this is happening. And I went through this phase where I kind of like suppressed it. But eventually I came to this place where I was like, you know what? Like, if I'm against this and this is horrible, then who am I to support these industries? And when I made that decision, it was life-changing for me. Because like I said, I always loved animals. And when you make the choice to be vegan, to not contribute to these industries, you get to not love animals just with your words, like most people are like, I love animals, but they eat animals. You actually love animals with your action. And it's really beautiful.
Oh my God, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Of course you got. What's up, Ryuji here. We out here at a Cube of Truth in Santa Monica right now. And what we're going to talk to you about tonight is what a Cube of Truth is and why you might want to come out. Now, Cube of Truth is an activism event. And so if you want to start getting involved in animal rights activism or vegan activism, this is a great way for you to get started. And what we're going to talk about is the things we wish we knew, what it is, our experiences with it, and really kind of give you a run through of, really this is a video that I wish I had before I came here. So anyways, without further ado, we're going to jump right into it. Enjoy. So I think first of all, let's kick it off by saying what a Cube of Truth is. So a Cube of Truth is an outreach event. So it's an event where we talk to the public about animal rights and veganism. The way it happens is that people stand in a cube, like you can see behind us over there, and they hold screens with footage of factory farms and slaughterhouses, the standard practices of those industries. And what happens is that because we're in a crowded area and people walk by, sometimes people stop, and when people stop, activists on the outside go talk to them and have conversations with them. And that's basically what it is. And like Hudson said, I think it's a great way to start getting involved in activism. It's the second thing that I did as an activist. I did a vigil first, and I did a Cube of Truth. And the biggest thing that I want to say first is that when I first found out about a Cube of Truth, I thought that it was going to be an event where, you know, I was like, this seems so like people are pushy, and it's like you're trying to push your belief. It's like, I felt in my mind like it was perpetuating the stereotype of the preachy vegan. That's what I thought it was. But the thing is, I only thought that from seeing it on social media. I saw people being at Cubes of Truth, and I was like, oh my God, those people are being the preachy vegans. Like, I would never want to be a part of that. And they would say things like, well, you know, 27 people took veganism seriously today. And I was like, what is this? I was like, I don't want to go up to people and be like, you should be vegan. Like, I never wanted to do that. But again, that was just my preconceived notion of what I thought it was going to be. And I came here and I was like, that's not what it is at all. A lot of those conversations are very friendly. Of course, some of them are not going to go well, quote unquote, but a lot of them are very friendly. It is a way to talk to the public in a way that's very non-confrontive and in a way that produces change. For example, a couple of conversations I had today, the people walked away and they were thanking me for having the conversation. They were like, yo, thank you so much for doing this. Thank you so much for telling me about all this. I had no idea. I never thought about this. And that's the opportunity that we have. So this is a really powerful opportunity to directly talk to the public.
Definitely. Yeah, something I also want to add is when I first saw Cubes of Truth, I saw it from seeing people like James Aspie, Earthling Ed, Joey Carbstrong, and what you see is you see them having the conversation. So I was, I think that it's easy to build up this idea that like, oh my God, like I'm gonna need to spend so much time before I go to Cube of Truth. I'm gonna have to spend so much time researching and learning a bunch of information to have these conversations. Or maybe that's not something you're into. Maybe you don't find yourself like that's a route you want to take. Having conversations with people. The amazing part about Anonymous for the Voiceless and why I think it's perfect for a first event and why I loved it for my first event getting involved into activism is because the first time I came, I didn't do any outreach conversations. I stayed in the cube, and that's, in my opinion, an even more crucial role, an even more legendary role, because it's like when you're out like getting the photos taken of you and you're having the conversation and like you're like the spotlight, but that's not possible in any way if it aren't for the people, because nobody would be stopping if we just have some TV on the ground, or if we have some stand. And what makes people come is seeing the masks, seeing real life people holding the TVs. So that is such a crucial part. And in fact, just today, actually, I don't think that it's like you reach a point where like, oh, I'm too good for this. Like I'm not going to do this. I learned so much by being in the cube and hearing people's conversations. For today, for 45 minutes before Ryuji came, I was in the cube, and I think that is an insanely valuable route to take, and especially if it's your first event and you're not too sure about doing outreach, I would encourage you to come to the Cube of Truth, because by joining the Cube, you're able to participate in the event in a very non-confrontational way, especially because there's masks. There's no other time, even if you go to an animal rights march or a vigil, there's no other time where you might be afraid, like, oh, well, what if my friends see me? What if, you know, my family, what if they see me? I don't want them to know I'm vegan. And so the Cube of Truth is a great way to do it, because you're wearing a mask, so it's very non-confrontational. You get to hold a sign, and you're doing so much for the animals. You're doing arguably more than the people on outreach, because the core element, the reason why they stop is because of you being in the Cube. So if you're interested in that, I would highly recommend that. Also, if you want to come to a Cube and you're like, well, I'll do the Cube, but I would like to do some outreach. Well, an amazing thing about Anonymous with the Voiceless is that you can actually shadow people on outreach. Just last week, I had someone, they were here, and it was their first Cube of Truth, and they, whenever I had my conversations, they would just stand right by me and they'd listen to what I was saying, because they wanted to start having conversations eventually, and by just, standing by, they were able to hear how I handle responses, and they were able to hear about how I respond to any negativity or any objections. And so it's a great way to build your activism skills as well, and it's really a great way to just build yourself as an activist by staying in the Cube, hearing conversations, or shadowing people on outreach, listening to how they do it, and then eventually doing conversations yourself. And all parts of the Cube are just so great for a first-time activist. Or if you have been doing activism for years and years and you want to come and actually make a difference, talk to consumers, talk to people and have conversations, and then on outreach, I think that the Cube of Truth is definitely the way to go for vegan activism.
Yeah, if I can tell a quick story about that, actually, my first Cube of Truth was at the Animal Liberation Conference last May, which at the time was actually the biggest Cube of Truth in history, which is pretty crazy. That was my first Cube. But the point is, I went to that event. I had never been at a Cube of Truth before, and so, like you, I was in the Cube for basically the entire time, because I was scared to have outreach conversations. I was scared to talk to people, so I was like, okay, let me be in the Cube, and so I was safe. But even that was so powerful for me. I remember being there and feeling like I was part of something so big, especially now. These groups, Anonymous for the Voiceless, everywhere in the world. I don't know how many chapters there are, but I know there are a lot of chapters around the world of people doing this. And I just felt like I was part of this huge movement, and I could see through like the slits in the mask. I saw like other people having outreach conversations. I felt everyone standing in solidarity in the Cube, and it was just such a beautiful moment. I started cheering up. Like I was like, this is so cool that we're actually doing something about this. So I think this can be a really powerful event. One thing that I talk about too that I think is really empowering about coming to any activism event, but particularly a Cube of Truth, is that when you go vegan, I feel like you can go one of two directions. You can either drive yourself down into a rut, or you can spiral up. And I feel like one part of spiraling up, and I've made other videos about this, but the point is, one part of spiraling up for me is that I want to put myself in a position to proactively see the change that's happening, and I want to be a part of that change. And coming to a Cube of Truth, it's a very clear way to put yourself in that position, because you're literally having conversations with people who are changing in that conversation with you. Like you see the change happening and you're like, wow, this could actually happen. And you see other people changing, you see people stopping and being concerned. And so it's a really powerful way to put yourself in that position for me.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it's one of the most common things that I get people telling me in messages is that they went vegan and now they're so sad and they're not sure what to do. Like it's so heartbreaking at first. And I remember when I first went vegan, I would get really sad every single day. Whenever I saw people consuming animal products, or whenever I would watch animal cruelty, I would get so sad and I would just tear up. And it's interesting, and I realized that ended up stopped happening. And it happened right around when I went to my first Cubes of Truth, when I started going on a monthly basis. And I was like kind of thinking, like I remember I was at like a vigil and like it just didn't really hit me. And then I remember I was like seeing people eating animal products and just wasn't really like hitting me, and seeing factory farm footage, and it wasn't hitting me as strong. Obviously it was still upsetting, but it wasn't hitting me as strong. And the reason why, is when I truly thought about it, is because I knew that, man, 2 times a week or 2 times a month, I'm coming here and I'm doing my part. And so it wasn't like I didn't feel so hopeless all of a sudden. I was like, man, 2 times a month I'm coming here. Like, look how many people there are. We're here with probably like 30, 40 people, and it was like, and you don't feel alone. When I see factory farm footage, I'm like, man, I'm seeing this footage, And, you know, I'm going to send this to, you know, I might put this, now that I'm an organizer for Anonymous for the Voiceless, now whenever I see really upsetting footage, I'm like, you know what, this would be a good idea. I'm going to send this to Nell. Maybe he can put it on the TVs and we can show this to get it out there. I'm no longer just feeling helpless about it. And I remember I used to just go through these phases where I was just so sad and I didn't want to even start doing activism because I was just like really upset about how, man, this is so awful. I had such a negative outlook on life because of veganism, and that really changed after going to Cubes of Truth, because then I can know that in my head, like, man, you know, even though this is a massive issue, I'm doing my part and I'm having conversations with people. And by coming to Cube of Truth and having outreach conversations, every single night there are people who are so receptive and so thankful for the conversations that I have with them, and so thankful for the conversations that you have. And so you really see that it's not like, oh man, we're in this alone and that everyone is against us. What you'll see is that when you come to Cube of Truth, that most people who stop by and watch, there might be one, two, some nights I'll have a conversation where I'll have a night where there's no productive conversations, but some nights I'll have a night where every single conversation is productive. And nights like that really show, like, man, we're not in this alone, and there's no reason to dwell. The only thing that we should be focusing on is improving our Cubes of Truth and organizing more and becoming more professional with them.
The last thing I want to wrap with personally is that by coming to a Cube of Truth, first of all, it's for everyone's welcome to come. One thing that people ask me sometimes is, well, how do you join? And I'm like, you just go. It's a one-step process. You find the group. It's a two-step process. You find the group and you go. By the way, the way that you find the groups, real quick, is if you go on Anonymous for the Voiceless website. I don't know how you would say with the apostrophe. Anyways, you go on their website.
Voiceless.org.
AnonymousForTheVoiceless.org. You go on that website and you can find a group near you. You can find their Facebook group, their Instagram, whatever they have, and then contact the organizers, find out when their events are, and then you just go to the events, and that's it. Then you say hi to people. People are super friendly. Bailey, who came here for the first time today, she was like, wow, it was her first time. She was like, you guys are so friendly. And I'm like, well, what did you, I'm like, yeah, that's great. And I'm like, yeah, like, we are really friendly. Like, people who do activism are in general really friendly. And even if you don't plan on, say, becoming a huge animal rights activist, or you don't plan on dedicating a huge chunk of your life to doing animal rights activism, I feel like that's sometimes an impression that people have, where it's like, oh, this is an event for animal rights activists. No, it's for anyone who cares. If you're a vegan and you care, this is an event for you, because this is not only going to support you in making a difference right here, right now at the Cube of Truth, but this is going to support you in every other area of your life. One of the reasons that I massively improved at having outreach conversations in random situations when I'm like sitting in a plane, or like, you know, like in line at the grocery store, or Chipotle or whatever, the reason I'm able to have productive conversations then is because I come to events like this where I'm able to actually proactively practice outreach. And, you know, because outreach, like any other thing, is a skill, right? Like, people might also think, well, like, I'm not good at talking to people, I'm not good at doing this is not for me. And it's like, well, you can learn how to do this. I used to be massively shy, I used to not understand how to talk to people. You can learn this. This is not a video about outreach tips, but if you want to learn more about outreach, check out our friend Alex Bez at Amazing Vegan Outreach, where he has incredible resources to teach you how to become a great outreacher. But the point is, it's a skill that you can learn. And so by coming here, you're able to develop those skills that are not only going to, you know, help you right here in those situations, but they're going to help you whether you're talking to your family, your friends, your coworkers, random people that you meet. It's just going to support you in communicating better in general in your life.
Yeah, 100%. I fully agree. It's like, by coming to Cube of Truth, you really get to develop those skills that lead to the other aspects of activism in your life. And yeah, now all the time I'm having outreach conversations with Uber drivers and just the most random people, and friends, family, just because of the fact that it's such a great way to build your confidence when talking with people, and by talking with random strangers that you're never going to see again. Because if you mess up, and if they say something that you have no argument to, it's like, all right, well, I'm never going to see them again. I'll just look up a response when I get home, and then I'll be set for the next time. And also, the one last thing I want to add is, the amazing thing I love about Cubes of Truth is not even like, I'm going to be honest with you, the thing that gets me like in my car going to the Cube of Truth is not, most of the time, is not like, oh man, I'm gonna save so many animals today. It's more likely of the time, it's, man, I'm gonna hang out with an awesome group of people, and I'm gonna hang out with like like so many cool people who share my values, who are so kind, and we're all gonna go out to dinner after this. You know, like I'm in high school, I'm 17, I'm a junior, and I've never had like a strong friend group. I've never had a strong group of people. Like I don't go to parties, I don't really hang out with people from my high school, and I always kind of thought like, oh man, like I guess that's kind of who I am. I guess I'm kind of like an introvert. But then when I joined Anonymous with the Voiceless, and now that I've been a part of this community, I've made so many lasting friendships. Ryuji, you know, one example, and that is so. If you are, I would highly encourage, if you want to find a great group of people, people who are willing to dedicate their Saturday evening and come here and stand like a statue for an hour. Like they could be watching Netflix right now, but they're out doing this, and it's like, and you know, we're not out here getting. We don't even have a donation jar. Like we're not getting money. So if you want to meet an amazing group of people and really have an awesome group of individuals to bond with, what I recommend, what I have found has been so great for me really finding my friend group, which I thought that I might never find. So I would recommend joining Anonymous for the Voiceless, and just go check out anonymousforthevoiceless.org, see if there's a chapter in your area. If not, just shoot them an email. It takes like 2 seconds to set up a chapter. Me and David, we just did because we just took over organizing. We just did the orientation call. It's super easy. People are super friendly, and it just takes like an hour to get it all running, and then you're set.
All right, that was it. Thank you so much for watching this video. We really appreciate it. Hope to see you at a Cube of Truth soon, wherever you are. I really hope to get you getting active. That was grammatically incorrect, but you get my point. And anyways, if you want to get in touch with us as well, if you have any questions, definitely leave us a comment down below, or you can hit us up on Instagram. That's the best way to get in touch with us. And we'll talk to you soon. Peace.